You thought you could get rid of me. So as we set up, I'll be delivering I'll be explaining the pieces we'll be playing in the second half. And we'll be showcasing more beautiful pieces with great talent. First on the list, in the second half, will be The Swan from Camille Saint-Saëns' Carnival of the Animals. The Carnival of the Animals is a musical suite of 14 movements, with each movement themed on a certain animal you would find at a zoo. The pieces range from goofy to pompous and everything in between. But The Swan is different from most others in that it is a slower, more majestic, and melancholy piece. It will be played today by Alvin and Caitlin Wang, our duoists from earlier, who are back at it again with some more violin pieces, as well as dancers Brooke Gibbons, Hilary Kwan, and Isabella Chen. Second in the second half will be Inventions 1, 4, and 8 by Johann Sebastian Bach. The inventions, so far as I can tell, are actually keyboard pieces and have been transposed for the violin, as it is Alvin and Caitlin Wang again who will be playing. I believe number 1 is in C major, number 4 is in D minor, and number 8 is in F major, according to the online music library, the IMSLP. After that will be, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, La Fontaine d'Arethusa by Karol Szymanowski. The piece is part of Szymanowski's series of music based on mythology, and the fountain of Arethusa is, according to legend, where a nymph named Arethusa escaped from her underground prison world. I don't know how Szymanowski read that story and then thought, oh, let me make a song out of this, but I'm sure his genius will shine through. Yasha will be playing violin for this piece. Up next will be Violin Concerto No. 2 by Louis Spohr. Spohr is one of the more obscure composers on this list, despite being one of the most acclaimed during his time. After his death, however, like so many composers, he fell into deep obscurity, and not until recently did anyone care to think about him or his work. I think it's nice to rediscover these obscure composers. Some of their work is as good as the greats, and can serve as important landmarks. Spohr, for example, did his work right when the classical period of music ended and the Romantic period began, so motifs from both groups can be heard in the music. And Alvin Wang will be performing that for us. Next is Jean Sibelius' Violin Concerto. The premiere of the concerto was turbulent. The person who was initially supposed to play the piece was absent on both nights of the performance, and so a substitute, who did not perform as well, had to step in. Sibelius was so ashamed that he made many cuts, excuse me, I have a little cold, and reorganizations to the work, and even refused to attend future concerts that the concerto was played. Archimedes Lee will be performing that piece. After that is Felix Mendelssohn's On Wings of Song, written in 1834, inspired by a poem written 7 years earlier. The poem begins, "On wings of song, I carry you away, away to the fields of the Ganges, where I know the most beautiful place." Where that place is, and it is a place, I could tell you, or I could let you listen to the piece and let your imagination roam. It's a fantasy piece, and wherever your happy place is, imagine being there. Caitlin Wang will be performing that. And last but not least, we will be playing 2 pieces by Antonio Vivaldi. First will be Vivaldi's Concerto for 4 violins, the 4 violins being Alvin and Caitlin Wang, Dasha Zerboni, and Archimedes Lee. The concerto is part of Allegro Armonica, or the harmonic inspiration, first released by Vivaldi in 1711. The pieces have been transposed many times for many different instruments, but at the end of the day, there's nothing quite like the old-fashioned Baroque violin quartet. And last but not least, playing Vivaldi's Concerto Grosso in D minor will be the CIM Students Ensemble. Obviously, this is all in your brochure. I'll just go through the names quickly. The conductor will be Anel Gregory. The first violins will be Archimedes Lee, Alvin Wang, Elliot Park, and Ellie Lee. Second violins, Kaden Jiang, Caitlin Wang, Leah Parsegian, and Nicholas Tron. Viola will be Dasha Zerboni, and the cellist will be Darren Zhang, Sebastian Brun, Ethan Zhang, and Natasha Wang. And after that will be the wrap-up of our concerts. Thank you for returning. I guess you must have liked the first half because you're still here. I certainly did. And so, again, sit back, relax, and